Greetings, one and all, from the White Mountains of Arizona. It's channeling time, and it's episode number 100. Can't believe we've done 100 channelings so far. It's gone so fast, but we wanted to celebrate here today. I don't know if it's a celebration, but we wanted to do something a little bit different. We are a little bit different, I guess, in many respects, so why should episode 100 be a normal episode? So what we're going to do today is we're going to channel the channeling series. Basically, we're going to channel how we channel. We're going to ask questions about how we can improve as a channeler or as an interviewer, as I guess I am. How we can improve as listeners, how we can improve as skeptics. I don't know. We're just going to channel the channeling and maybe see what shadows that we're not looking at when it comes to this channeling series, what light we're putting out, how we can spread this message further. Not that there's any particular message, it's just a conglomeration of 100 different messages at this point. Here's Tara. We don't know what she's going to connect to, who she's going to connect to.
Okay.
Who you got?
Our Lyran friend.
Oh, we've channeled him several times.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's going to give us some input on our channeling series?
Yeah, he said he'd be more than happy.
So he's fifth dimensional?
He said for the time being.
So no ego?
Yes, or not in the way you would understand.
You have a fifth dimensional ego. So you're just going to critique us and give us some pointers then? All right, my first question, I guess, would be, what are we doing right with this channeling series?
Well, being able to look into shadow and light and positive polarities, negative polarities, neutral, anything under the sun really, has been great. Looking at things that are not always seen as something that you could channel, like a situation or a place. Asking about all aspects. This is good. This is remembering that it's the dream. In a dream, you look at all different aspects. What was happening in the dream? Who was there? What were you doing? Where were you? And to channel these different things, where are we? What are we doing? The people surrounding us. It's looking at things like a dream. This has been excellent.
Okay, what are we doing poorly or negatively, or what can we improve on?
Improvement will come as you grow. So there will always be something to improve on, of course, because you're always growing. So I can't quite yet state what you could improve on because you haven't grown there yet. But eventually you will, and therefore your perspective will expand. When your perspective expands, then there's a whole host of other channelings that you could do. Other beings, energy, situations, perhaps fragments of yourself, maybe.
Okay, let me better state it. What is the negative polarity aspect of our channeling series?
Well, I guess you could call it a negative aspect, but you both still have ego. And as long as there's ego, there's always going to be a bit of that matrix influence. So the more ego you remove, the better your channelings will be. Questions and answers.
In what way has the matrix influenced our channeling series?
By helping you with the ideas for your channeling series. Sometimes the matrix will have an idea pop into your head. Even if the matrix isn't too keen on you getting all the information about what it is that you're channeling, they still provide ideas for those channelings.
To try to get us on the right path, but in the wrong direction.
It's always a game of inversion.
How can we better become aware of when the matrix is influencing our choices?
You might want to do perhaps a little meditation before you dive into a channeling, perhaps a day or two before. So when you have an idea, meditate on it. How does it feel with your soul? How does it feel to your ego? What could be gained? Perhaps what could be pushed if there was an agenda? And when it feels right, go ahead and channel it. Of course, I'm not saying what you can or cannot channel, but if it feels right to your soul, go along with it. And sometimes things that feel right to your soul will also be something that the matrix wants to push. But that's because both have very different viewpoints on the subject matter, both your soul and the matrix.
Okay, thanks for that. Obviously, we would like to reach a large group of people, but our videos don't get the views. What's preventing more people from seeing our channelings?
In that, there is a matrix question. So you're asking about numbers, getting more people to see something, but how do you know that they aren't seeing it already? Just because the numbers on the screen tell you, you know that numbers are manipulated. Many of these electronics, they are manipulated because they belong to the matrix. So what if I said you were reaching a wider audience than you were aware of? And perhaps it wasn't the fact that they are actually seeing your videos, but they are absorbing it through their dreams, their meditations, the collective consciousness. Many are already benefiting from your videos. And it's not that they physically have to go to a particular matrix-created platform in order to view them. When you channel, and when you ask questions, which is also a form of channeling, you're both tapping into the all, into the collective consciousness. And at some level, at that point, everyone feels it. It's in everyone's soul mind. So, this has nothing to do with numbers on a screen. You are already doing what you need to do.
Wow, okay. So as long as we set the intention that the right people view it, then we're in the correct energy.
Of course, if I were a negative polarity and I wanted to bring you down to my level, I would of course use tons of deception in order to get you down to my level. One way to pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak, is to get you to feel that what you're doing isn't working or isn't helping enough people. How do we do that with numbers? Numbers are easily manipulated. With platforms, platforms are easily manipulated. So that in your ego mind, you feel like you are not reaching as many, that you're not doing as much as you could. This type of feeling puts you into an ego space, exactly where it wants you to be.
Many have reported that sometimes our channelings are hard to understand. What would you say to those people and about that?
There are many things that are hard to understand for an ego. If somebody is having a hard time understanding a particular message or the energy of a particular channeling, that was their ego that did not understand. Their soul understands 100%. So even if they left a bit confused, their soul got exactly what it needed.
Okay, what advice or tips can you give to the listeners of these channelings?
Well, it seems trite, but try your best to remain as open as possible and understand that although maybe you don't understand, and it seems a bit confusing, that at some level, that soul that you trust, is getting the exact information that it needs for its growth, your growth. So you don't need to wrap your head around every single word and every single idea in a channeling, but more absorb it. Just like if you were to lay out on the beach on a sunny day, absorbing the sun's rays, do the same with these channelings. You don't need to understand how hot the sun is or how many miles it is from the earth, all of these things. Just enjoy it.
What advice can you give Tara on improving as a channeler?
Release more ego. Sometimes she has to really push the ego aside as it wants to pop in from time to time. It wants to try and finish sentences. It wants to try to wrap its head around what is happening and what is being said, as sometimes she talks faster than her ego can keep up with. And so her ego tries to slow her down so it can try to understand what is happening. But the faster we go, the harder it is for the ego to catch up.
What advice can you give me as a question asker?
The same thing, except perhaps you do not need to speed through your questions, but as the questions come in, then you speak them instead of trying to think in which direction could we go here, what would be a great follow-up question. I know that you are listening to everything that is being said so that you can formulate a question, but instead of using the logic mind to formulate that question, perhaps allow the soul to create the question for you.
Oh, wow. Okay, let me try that right now. How can we inject more love into our channelings?
Love is not something that you need to inject into a channeling because you are love and everything is love. So if you are tapping into the frequency that you are, then inadvertently everything that you push through these channelings is going to be love.
Can you give us some advice on removing the ego?
Any part of you that wishes to analyze, try to understand, put into a box, control people or the environment around you, the thing that gets upset or throws a tantrum because this isn't working or that isn't working, all of that, of course, you know, is the ego. And it's all just, I suppose, a work in progress. Every time it comes up, again, we have to work on it and put it back into its place being in the background, as it always should be. So this is more as a play-by-play basis as you start to feel it come up, as you are becoming very aware of what your egos sound like, what they feel like, the kind of mood that you're in when the ego is in charge, the kind of headspace that you're in. Perhaps you begin to feel it in your bodies. Perhaps you start to feel it in your stomach. Perhaps you feel it in your legs. Sometimes, maybe, this is the body speaking to you, letting you know where the ego is hiding. So if you've had an upset stomach, perhaps your ego is trying to hide out in there, trying to lower your vibration. Perhaps it is an eye issue, perhaps your eyes have been bothering you, then that is where the ego is hiding. The ego is not a full and complete form. Sometimes you feel like if I were to look at my ego, it would look like an identical version of me. But the ego is merely an energy. It has no form, really, but it moves throughout the body. Yes, you tap into it to think 3D things, do math problems, go to school, do these things. But it's really just an energy that floats around your body. Sometimes you feel it in the chest, in the heart, in the head, behind the eyes. Sometimes it's in your ears. Sometimes it's in your stomach. but your body will let you know where it is hiding.
Okay, so in one aspect, I believe the controllers of the Matrix have sent mosquitoes to me to disrupt this channeling. On one level, I brought the mosquitoes to me. On another level, I am the mosquito. What are the dark Matrix controllers planning to do in the future to disrupt this channeling?
All they can do to disrupt any sort of channeling or any sort of light message, as that's their job, is to disrupt any sort of light, because they are the dark, just like it is the job of the light to disrupt the dark. It is just a game they play. But in the future, and perhaps even right now, it's more just removal of the ego. They can only tap in when you are connected to the matrix itself. So think of everyone on this planet, everything, trees, rocks, animals, you, people, all connected to a little string. And the string is connected to this box. But when the string is cut or evaporates, hence no ego, then nothing within the box or the box itself can control that being, because there's nothing being sent down that little wire, that little string that attaches to their body. And so until then, they'll continue to utilize everything within the matrix to tap into that part of you that is still connected to the matrix.
All right. Okay, let me think of a couple last questions. Do other channelers notice how good Tara is at channeling? Is she going to get recognition for this?
I would say there's a little bit of light and a little bit of ego in the question. The light in the question is, of course, wanting all to come together to see one another so that we can all improve and help one another. The getting recognition as in for a good job, you should already know that you are doing a great job and you don't need the recognition of other channelers. But do their egos recognize how unique this channeler is? Some of them do recognize how unique it is. How their ego wants to explain the word unique to them is up to them.
She's got unique outfits. Yeah, I think I want her to have recognition, not for a job well done, but just so her message, which is not even her message, the message of all these entities that she channels, can be heard by more people. I know the collective understands the message, but I would like their egos to understand it as well.
I see. Well, for now, it must remain as it is. Your channeling, as it appears to be of lesser number than other channelers. But remember that it is all illusion. And even the channelers that have seen what she does, even how they view it is through the eyes of illusion, what their ego will or will not allow them to see or to comprehend. And so, when you have another being in the box, like I explained before, with the string attached, if they still have ego, that ego will still prevent them from fully understanding that this channeler is also them, as well as Tara herself. While she still has that string connected to the box, she will always be comparing herself possibly to other channelers, not understanding that you are all the same being and you have all the same gifts, the same abilities if you chose to. So there is a lot that everyone could learn from each other. Yes, of course, especially at a soul level. But the ego is tricky and selective.
Wow, another fantastic conversation. I love chatting with you. You're the best. I love you. Thank you for being here. Do you have any last message for the people, or for us, or for the channeling before we go?
Sure. There are many of you who are on various aspects of a healing journey. And I don't want you to get too hard on yourself as we go through this journey. The part of you that gets hard on yourself, comes down on yourself, of, oh, I let my ego slip up again, or oh, I messed up, or I feel shamed for something that I've done before. All of those feelings, all of those thoughts are the ego. Shame, feeling ashamed of something, that is the ego keeping you in the past. If you feel that you are inadequate, you are not as, quote unquote, spiritually as elevated as someone else, again, that is an ego program. That is an ego thought. You are equal to each and every being around you because they are you. So if you feel that you've messed up on something, well, love would say, what matters if I did not succeed in my task? I will just try again, or perhaps I will try something different. There is no feeling of sorrow or sadness or shame. All of those emotions, they come from the ego. You can thank your body for showing you those emotions as they hint to who is really behind those energies, those emotions, and that is the ego. Perhaps that'll help someone.
I think so.
Woo.
I think it'll help a lot of people. Wow.
Alrighty. Oh man, that guy is so cool.
Yeah, I love the Lyran guy.
Yeah, I like how he bounces around. It's like this little orange energy.
So did you remember what happened there?
Yeah, I think for the most part.
We got some good advice.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to rewatch it.
Oh, we're going to rewatch it. Don't worry. We're going to edit it and rewatch it and watch it when it comes out. We always watch these 4 or 5 times, don't we?
Yeah. I like the visual that he was giving me of the box, basically the cube. And everybody's got like a little string around their waist is kind of how he was showing me. But, you know, once the string is cut, then there's no more info coming down that string. You're just kind of like this free being. You could do whatever you want in the box. There's no ego, so the box can't, like, you know, transmit whatever ego program, you know, into you because it's not there. So you just kind of get to do what you want. That seemed pretty cool. I like that visual.
That's the goal. So we got to remove the ego to get there.
Yeah. I also liked what he was saying about, you know, like when we look at YouTube, we look at the numbers, we're like, oh, you know, some people get thousands, sometimes millions of views, you know, for being able to spread a positive message. And then we look and it's like, you know, only a handful. But, you know, like he was saying, it's not about numbers because the numbers are manipulated anyway. The platform itself is manipulated anyway. So it's really about the energy of the message reaching the energy of the people in general. So
it's hard for the ego mind to grasp, but
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but what he was saying too, the ego doesn't really understand a whole lot either.
Right.
But the soul does. So. But anyway, I am curious to hear what you guys thought of that channeling, our 100th.
Thank you for watching 100 of these videos.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them all, go to the playlist section.
Yes.
And it's under the playlist section. There's 100 of these channelings.
And they're all numbered 1 through 100. So yeah, if you're looking for a little, I'm gonna expand my mind.
There's something for everyone.
There's something.
There's Mr. Rogers. There's
we have 3D stuff. We have 5D. We have 13D stuff. We have universe stuff. We have I don't know. We did one where we channeled the land here. We've channeled spirits. We've channeled people who are still alive. We've channeled animals.
One of my favorites is the food channeling, and that didn't get a lot of traction. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think that did either. Maybe you guys want to go check out the food.
But spirituality-wise, the key ones are the free will crimes, the black cube,
the ego program,
space, the moon,
the moon.
Right.
I was just trying to think. I think my favorite channelings. I mean, I like them all, but I really like when Anna gets to speak. Or, you know, any of the Atul, also known as the Anastasi.
Of course.
I know they're spirits, but I want to hear from others that have ascended. You know? So yeah, I mean, let us know, what were your favorite channelings? Do you have ideas for improvement? Do you have ideas for future channelings, or just questions that you may have?
Yeah, your comments is the juice that keeps this machine flowing.
And every time somebody gives a suggestion, I really do put it down on our list. So we appreciate each and every one of those suggestions. Thank you. 100.
100. On to 100 more, I think.
Yes. All right. Well, we thank you guys for coming out here with us visually. And thanks for sticking around for 100 episodes. Like James said, here's to 100 more, and we'll see you guys next Monday. All right.
Bye.
Bye.